YouTube. Remember last week I took a wee bit of a jaunt to I'm going to say Portobello, no, Leith, to pick up a tradie guitar. This was I get a guy, Ewan, who said you can for me basically to try and do up. So I didn't go mental on it. It was too pretty. I kind of struggled to, very easy to make it into an Iron Brew one or a Bucky one, but it kind of reminds me too much of a wee Squire Bullet here. It's just exactly the same colour, really. I think it's more than anything else. And there's a few things I really liked about it. I really liked the fact that the pickup has aged to this basically almost the same colour as the fretboard. I get the angle right. So what I've done is basically I put a telly pickup in it, and this is a 4-way rotary, which the knob is slightly too white for this particular thing. I do have an amazing looking chicken head knob that doesn't fit. So what I've done is I've got one of these white knobs sitting in a cup of coffee that's been in since last night to try and make it a bit more this colour. So this is a 4-way rotary. The 4 positions being the original pickup, both of them the neck pickup, and then both of them in series as a big humbucker. My thinking there is a lot of the time people are going to be playing these wee mini guitars are going to have a wee mini amp, something along these lines. I've actually got, I should have brought the Black Star Fly through, I didn't though. Either that or one of the desktop Marshall stacks, something that size. So basically I'm thinking what you want with them is bass and volume. A single coil pickup kind of sounds dead tinny because they're really tinny sounding amps, so basically you want as much bass and volume as you can. So that was what the idea with the humbucking idea was. I had to move the bridge on it, so if you've got one of these, this one originally I had to move the bridge. It was kind of almost touching the scratch plate and it just would not intone, so I had to move the bridge back a bit. You can sort of see the holes. I tried to do it so but it wasn't possible. I needed special saddles for it because this is a really thin, in fact this is a really thin string spacing on these. This is a 50mm string spacing as opposed to 56 or 58 is what it normally is, so it's quite thin this way, so normal saddles wouldn't cut it. That kind of limited my pickups as well, but I figured a telly one, basically the telly one's there because it looks right, but I mean it's made a huge difference to the sounds of the guitar. It's a massive improvement and a huge upgrade. I had to make the nut for it. It's really fidgety trying to do these wee mini guitars. This is a short scale, was it 19 inch? Can't remember, something like that. Yeah, so 18 3/4 inch scale. So I've put Rotosound 12s on this. 12s I reckon are probably roughly about the same sort of tension as 10s would be on a Les Paul. So they're not, although they're thick strings, they're still quite light feeling. There's a little bit of skill involved in playing the very small guitars. Being a bass player, obviously thump thump thump, you have to be a little bit lighter with it. Otherwise if you push the string down too hard it bends. But that's what's going to happen with any short scale guitar, not just this one. I left the tuners because they work. I'll loop this round so I stop standing on the lead. Yeah, so I didn't do that much to it apart from make it work. I hope I'm not disappointed the guy that gave me it. I think it's a bit classy looking, and I think it's pretty cool. And I think this is an exactly Strat shape, but obviously significantly smaller than a Strat. But it just the outline, the proportions look to be about right. That's why the headstock looks so big, because it's obviously it has to be that size to take the tuners. But the actual body's pretty good. So a wee bit of this is the bridge pickup original. I'm playing through like a £300 Laney with that speaker cabinet, mic's up there. And then if I go to both pickups on, you can already tell what a huge difference that's made to the sound. is both of them as a humbucker, which is was more for the volume rather than the sound I was going for. Because you want the volume if you're playing through a wee tiny amp. As you can tell, like all the sounds, the least good one is the original sound. Kind of sounds a little bit like a toy guitar, so it's a good upgrade if you've got one of these guitars. It's well worth putting a neck pickup in. So I'm not, you're going to put my own drums in. Something like that. Like, am I going to be able to try to put the bass on? My plan was I was going to use the wee tiny loop pedal and then use the Black Star or that wee amp, but I decided I couldn't bother doing that. So I'm just using what the wee tiny loop pedal does, but I'm using mine. Then we go to the both pickups on, much better. Neck pickup on its own. I think when we were building this guitar, if they were going to put one pickup in it, they should have put it in the neck. Humbucker. Rat pedal. single bridge pickup with a rat pedal. This is tuned to E, by the way. That's why I put 12s on it. You can't. A guitar like this will not handle. When you get down to a really short scale length, they can't take standard tuning. You have to tune them up to A or G, just because the strings are too floppy to actually physically work. Whereas 12s on this scale, so like under a 20-inch scale, you want to put 12s on it, and you get something playable. Bending, it's a bit weird because although the strings aren't that difficult to bend, they're about the right tension. You can bend them. The distance you bend them is a very small amount, so you're putting the same pressure on, but you're only moving it a wee bit to get. Great for vibrato. Might to run that through a tuner a wee bit there. I think I was bending that B up like 5 notes. Wasn't making it hold very well. But if you're not going to be bending it up so many notes, you can. It does hold not too bad. I'll be quite aggressive with it. So it's like I suppose it's like for a kiddie's guitar. We'll maybe hoping to sell this up for Christmas or maybe swap it for something. See, this technically it comes into my tradey thing. What I'm going to do before I go is I'm going to put it on through this wee cheapy nasty amp, which I'll probably give away free with the guitar if anyone really wants it. This is a sort of party going amp. So this has got a volume and a tone, and off, on, and drive. So this is it in clean. Just that's coming through. Sounds like you're playing to an AM radio. That's going from listening to 3 12-inch speakers to one 4-inch speaker, 3-inch speaker, something like that. This is what I was saying with having the extra sounds on. So this is stock, and then if you go up one, you get both pickups, which is already much better. Right pickup. It's not a full bung. It's not a full bung now. And then, so there's your volume. And then if you put on the humbucker, it's a good bit louder. Which is what you want if you're jamming. I'll put it onto the drive thing, which I think it ups the noise anyway. Should be a lot louder. Wow, that's actually pretty loud considering how small it is. There's the original pickup. Too sparkly. And back to humbucker. Yeah, I can see myself pure destroying a party when parties come back with that. I'll put it back on the clean, and I'll just my. Yeah, so I've still got the loop pedal going. So in theory, you could do this just using the wee SOS loop or the wee £30 one, which I can't find. It's lying about somewhere. Trying to fuzz pedal. Humbucker. That's actually the Laney making that C noise. I thought it was that wee amp. Don't leave it. Volume up and unplugged. Oh, it does sound nice. I do a real amp. Yeah, so it really was just to show that basically you can have some fun, even if I was just using that wee amp on its own. I do like my loop pedals though. But as I said, even one of those wee basic ones, mine's an SOS, so it's actually my girlfriend's, one of the wee mini pedals. The only problem with that is you need to buy like a wee adapter thing so you can run it on a battery if you were going to be going for the whole camping route or playing. You know, you could pretty much play a gig in front of. If you're talking about sitting about a fire with sort of 10 folk or something like that playing the guitar, a wee amp like that's well loud enough to get a sing song on the go. But I was looking at it, as I said, with the humbucker boost was really just so that you could get as much volume as possible when you're all pure wellied and singing really loud. That's still going to compete. You're still going to hear that enough. Yeah, so nice one of these. I don't know if someone wants to swap it for something, or I might put it up for sale. It'd be a fantastic Christmas present for a kid. The problem with these guitars is they're bloody difficult to set up. It's an awful lot. Everything has to be an awful lot tighter because you're reducing the scale by a fair bit. The nut has to be cut better. You get less leeway, so you have to cut a really good nut, and you have to intone it right to get it. Even things like turning the tuners, you have to turn them less to change the notes, just because they're because of the short strings. So the problem, and I said even with this one, the bridge was in the wrong place. So that bridge was in the wrong place from the factory. So however old this guitar is, it's possibly 80s, maybe early 90s. It's never ever played in tune until yesterday when I moved the bridge and set it up. You can get them to sound sort of okay on the open chords, but as soon as you start coming up, things just go all over the place if it's not intoned properly. So I mean, these as big kids' guitars, or maybe, see, I'm not really using it as a kids' guitar. I'm finding tunes out it, which can be done. But if you're physically small or young, then I suppose a small neck guitar is the thing. I'd imagine that the way this is just now is kind of the same sort of ballpark as the Paul Gilbert Ibanez Geo something. He's got one that's a short scale sort of Ibanez RG shape, and I've also got one that's a mini Flying V, which actually I might keep this and sell that for my mini guitar. But if you buy one of these, then like if you're buying it for a kid or something like that, they might never learn to play. If a guitar doesn't play, then it doesn't play, and it needs to be set up. And the problem is with these things, you pick up something that looks very similar to this for like 30 or 40 quid, and those guitars it's not a real guitar. It's got strings and stuff on it, but I mean, even if you do manage to tune it up, as soon as you strum anything, it goes out of tune, and you're basically not going to learn to play more than one string. And that you can still play on one string, do you know what I mean? But you can't play actual chords, whereas actually a kid would have a chance of learning to play this. And they would probably keep it because it's also, I just think it looks absolutely cool hanging on the wall. Like say you've got yourself I've seen folk do this online, they've got like the tobacco burst, they've got the Strat and the P bass and the telly. Well, this would fit in quite nicely with it being neither. The guy who I bought it off was going to try and turn it into like an electric mandolin, which I didn't dismiss that, but then I'd need to buy different bridge, and then I'd have to find somewhere else for 2 more tuners, and then I'd have to learn to play mandolin, which is not easy. So I went for the sort of easy option. Also, I didn't want to ruin it because I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's the sort of thing you could hang on the wall and it would sit along with far more expensive guitars just because it looks really cool, and it does do something else. It's not just a guitar that's a bit rubbish. It's a guitar that's small. So I suppose if you were talking about there's something you're trying to get a good reach out of, you can't do that in a normal guitar. So that kind of turned into, because I swapped this for a pick, I'm sort of including this into my Trade Tuesday thing, which is obviously growing arms and legs and going all a bit crazy, but got some updates on that. The vintage Les Paul, which it's a fantastic looking guitar. As I said, the only issue is the knobs are the wrong colour, but that people might like that, or you can spend £2 and buy matching knobs. I've done a swap with this. I put this online and it lasted 5 minutes, and I got a swap for something I wanted, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. I'm not sure when I'm going to be getting that one. It's the guy lives in Skelmorley, so it would be a nice for a day trip. I'll see if I can work it out, but because I'm not sure exactly what the tier system is. I think he might be in a different tier. That'd be quite nice because that'd be a drive down through Gourock. No, it's not so nice in Greenock, but in Gourock, once you get past Gourock, you get Gourock and Skelmorley and Weems Bay and stuff like that. So it's like views of the Clyde and Arran and stuff. So it'll probably make a pretty good video to go and do that. And the other one, the Yamaha Pacifica, I've swapped that, and my pal Ronnie is coming over tonight to get it. So there should be an interesting. Trade Tuesday tomorrow will probably not involve an actual car journey, but I will have another guitar to do with it. If that hadn't happened, I would have kept this till tomorrow. Seeing as I technically did trade this for a plectrum, so I'll maybe swap or do something with it. Again, I'm sorry to Ewan for not putting lots of pickups in it like I said I was going to. I just went for sensible you know, sometimes I have all these crazy ideas, and sometimes you sit there and you think, well, how much extra effort is it to put all the extra stuff in? Is it going to work? And it's like, really, on a wee mini guitar, do you really want lots of pickup options? You really want, you know, it's not, you don't really have a standard bass rate. Like if I just stuck it in a Strat, yes, because you know what a Strat's meant to sound like. Well, this is already sounding a bit weird, having the two pickups, having the, you know, just the short scale. So there is a skill to playing this though, because my bass player, I'm holding the strings down too hard. You've got to hold them really lightly. It definitely sounds better than everything but the original pickup. So, rock on. That was quite a long video. It turned out to be, it was meant to be a wee video just because it was a wee guitar. So if you're talking about when partying and stuff comes back, something like this, fantastic little, or even if you're a kid or a girl maybe, if you're maybe just wee, then something like this. But it's totally usable for, especially if you're more of a, less of a heavy metal player, but instead of if you're a heavy metal player you can deal with it. But I can see this being quite a, I can imagine like a sort of modern pop arty type band with a girl singing, going woo, doing all the crazy sort of Kate Bush singing, having something like this, and you know, I don't think that's sexist, maybe it is. Rock on!